What's going on, 5-9 Gaming? Lethal One up here with a new guest, the one, the only, the special Cleric Bear. Cleric Bear, what's going on, my dude?
Hey, what's up, man? Glad to be here.
Dude, we got some tasty information that's kind of just trending all over the place.
Some spice.
The possibility of a PlayStation 5 Pro that's apparently going to have 2 graphics cards inside this console. And basically, that's potentially a lot of power. And this news that this is dropping potentially, whenever, it's kind of soon, considering that people don't even have a PlayStation 5 yet. I mean, I'm lucky.
Everybody's still struggling to get one.
Yeah, people are really struggling to still get one. And I mean, this literally just dropped 2-3 weeks ago, and now we have news dropping about a PlayStation 5 Pro. In the works with some patents that seem to be a little bit old, but it's kind of surfacing up now. But basically, these patents are kind of pretty much saying that there's a PlayStation 5 Pro that's possibly in the works that's going to have two GPU graphics cards in them, basically. And a lot of the speculation is saying that this is going to, of course, provide greater processing and just storage and a bunch of other buffs to the console itself. But it seems that it's going possibly towards cloud gaming, which is something that's kind of still relatively new to to a bunch of gamers out there. It's a new thing, but you've seen a lot of people jump on this already with Xbox. There's Amazon Luna, and you reminded me, and I always forget about them, but Stadia. I always forget about Google Stadia because that was their thing. But I feel like me and Hazing, we actually talked about this a little bit in our last video. We talked about how cloud gaming is becoming a thing, and we think it's something that's gonna become big. So seeing this news article kind of pop up, and now it's trending all over the place, and it's the potential of PlayStation going to cloud gaming themselves and getting a console that's strong enough to support it. Just off the top of your head, what is just a quick thought you think about that?
I think it's pretty exciting to be able to have a console that can, on its own end, handle that streaming capability of on-demand games. That's kind of the future. It's not really normalized yet, but it is something that we're approaching in the gaming world. And I'm not a very technical guy, but it seems like this is a very smart thing to do.
Right.
If it just,
the times,
just put 2 of them in there,
Right.
It'll make it better. So
I was gonna say, have you had any any experience playing with any forms of cloud gaming?
So we tried out Stadia a little bit.
Okay.
When it was either a super cheap trial or a free trial or something. I messed around with it a little. It's cool. I just didn't like the Stadia service in general, but the idea of cloud gaming and being able to stream that to, especially for Microsoft, any phone, kind of, anything that could handle it. It's exciting to be able to take that on the go.
Right. And for me, I actually had a little bit of experience playing with some cloud service gaming. I played with GeForce. They have a new Now cloud gaming service that kind of is still in beta right now. For me, for iPhone, it's actually been a minute because apparently, Apple right now still doesn't exactly support cloud gaming services. But there's kind of ways that companies have been able to kind of work with it. And so again, NVIDIA GeForce just dropped their own. I gave it a shot, and dude, it's surprisingly, it's pretty smooth. And again, I'm on Wi-Fi, but it's pretty smooth for what it can do on my phone.
So do you feel like we're waiting on the technology to catch up, or the company, the business side of it to catch up to where it'll be a normal thing? Because it's starting to feel like the technology is there. We're ready to be able to handle this cloud gaming and streaming and stuff like that. It just seems like we're waiting for these companies to figure out how to do it correctly,
Right. And I think it's a mixture of both, I think the technology, it's basically there, and it's all, for the most part, a lot of these phones, they have some powerful, CPUs and everything that's inside of them, RAM and all that. So I think that's there. I just think the service, it's slowly rolling out and it's getting to that point. And I think one of the big things is, phones nowadays are getting 5G support. I actually just got my new iPhone, and it's ready for 5G. I just don't have 5G in my area yet, and that's one thing that kind of holds that that capability out there. It holds it back a little bit because 5G isn't fully out there just yet. But this is the type of services that would definitely benefit from having 5G speeds. Because again, I'm not just like you. I'm not a big tech on knowing the tech and ins and outs of Wi-Fi and mobile data speeds and stuff like that. But for what I know, 5G is supposed to be really good. Competes with some of the best Wi-Fi chips and Wi-Fi power out there. Yeah.
It's exciting. So it's a lot of just waiting for everyone to catch up here to where this can be a normal thing everybody can have in their house. Because that's going to be the biggest thing. You're waiting on companies to release a format where you can use cloud gaming for their services, and then you also have to wait for 5G to be in your area. A lot of people don't have like Google Fiber or something in their area to help them handle these types of things. So it's a lot of catching up, waiting for these other services to catch up before this can be a solid normalized thing. So I'm excited for it, but there's still a lot of waiting I think we have to do before this becomes the new normal.
I totally agree. And one thing I did want to kind of bring up is, even an article kind of brings it up, is to kind of go along with these patents, where there's talks about a PSP 5G. And did you used to have a PSP at all?
I did, man. I had the PSP back in the day. I never got the Vita, but I had the PSP.
Yeah, dude, I loved it. Unfortunately, I didn't have Vita, and I heard Vita was, and I know Vita was really good. My friends had Vita.
Yeah, it's a very like cult classic. A lot of people who had it love it. So.
Right. And so basically the article kind of hinted at the fact that maybe we could be looking towards a PSP 5G. Here's my thing, and I don't know, we'll hear your thoughts about it too, but we were talking a little bit about like, smartphones and whatnot. Do you think a PSP would do good basically in today with the power of current smartphones?
See, if it was, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier with like no R2. I think it wouldn't do good by itself, Right. Just the portable gaming. I don't think it carries itself nearly as much. Nintendo can get away with it because of the IPs they have. Right. Their brand, they can get away with something like that. I don't think Sony can get away with making another PSP, simply because, the power might not be there to run a game like God of War, as much as you would like. So I think people are going to be more attracted to just keeping their home console, to play these Sony exclusives. So I agree with the idea that it's going to have to be something else. It's going to have to also be a phone. It's going to have to be coupled together to make it a much better portable device. And I think that's what they're going to try and do. So.
Right. No, I totally agree. And it's just like you said, to say like, PSP can have a comeback because Nintendo Switch did it, but I agree, Nintendo has that IP. They have the Mario and stuff like that. People are going to want to play that. And another thing too is some of their games are kind of hard to get on mobile too. I mean, they have some variations of it, but for the most part, the Switch is kind of like the big one. But when I think of like PSP and, if they want to start doing some of these cloud gaming services, like, I feel like you would have to, that's something you have to look forward to getting, like, some form of like mobile data plan if you want to play anywhere on the go.
Yeah.
It's going to be restricted to like Wi-Fi, and with the power that we're seeing with, again, like we mentioned before, with a lot of these smartphones nowadays, some of them can kind of handle it. And for what I've tried so far with a cloud gaming service, my iPhone was able to, do it pretty well, but I didn't really notice too much lag. So I feel like, I agree. Like, the idea of a PSP coming back, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't see it.
When you look at Sony as a company as a whole, and we got some notes on this here, they're more than just a gaming company. They have the cameras. They have, even though it's an extremely small portion, they have the phones, which we did some research on. I was shocked to see that Sony actually makes really good phones.
Right.
And so it just makes sense for them to bring their engineers together to make something that can do both, that can be their gaming thing and maybe help boost their market share for phones, So I think that's the route they need to go, and I think that's the route they will go, because it just makes sense. Because if you just make a PSP 5G, you're already putting so many components in it that you would just need for a phone anyways.
Right.
So why not just go the extra mile and make it a phone? Something I'd only need to carry one of. I don't have to take my PSP and my phone with me. It's just one thing. So.
That totally makes sense, man. So here's the next thing. Going into this, stepping more into cloud gaming services, do we think PlayStation has a good... Do you think what they can do with PlayStation Now would be good enough to kind of compete with the possible Xbox Game Pass? Go ahead.
You're wondering if like the PS Now library can compete with...
Yeah.
Yes and no. Because I think the thing that Game Pass does well is that there's so many games on there I would not buy, but that I would just maybe try if I have Game Pass. I played Tetris Effect Connected the other day, a game I wouldn't go out and buy, but I really enjoyed playing it because it was on Game Pass. The thing with Sony games is most of the time I'm already buying whatever new Sony game comes out day one. So if that's going to be their main selling point for pushing PlayStation Now, it might not be as much of a thing for me because I'm already going to be playing these games. Now, if it's, I don't know. I see mostly as they need to extend their library too, and maybe have some caveats that are just like make it better than Game Pass besides just having all their first party games on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. I was just gonna hop in and say that, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like Microsoft's like mission and goal was to say that, with Game Pass you'll get their brand new games, exclusive games like day one, I think too. And I think that was like a big selling point of Game Pass. Like you knew you're gonna get your hands on the new Halo when that came out. You knew you were automatically gonna get your hands on the new Gears when that came out, and any other games that they have going forward. Whereas I don't think with PlayStation Now that's not the case really.
Yeah, I'd have to do some research. I don't know if that's something they're plan to do in the future.
Right.
Like I know they have the PS Now Plus collection. I can't remember if that's what it's called exactly, where you get to play all the old PS4 classics and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's worth it if you're, if you didn't get a chance to play all those games. I think it's worth it then. But it's, I'm sure you've played most of those games. I've played a lot of those games.
Right.
It just doesn't have that same kind of value as, I think Game Pass, which has.
Right.
Looking forward, you got Bethesda and all these bigger companies that day one you're going to have these games on Game Pass. So I think it's going to be hard competition, but I definitely think Sony can do it if they make the right steps.
Yep, and I totally agree. And the way Microsoft did a good job was they really, I think it's like $15 a month possibly, or maybe it's 20. I have to double check it. But what they did was they gave Game Pass Ultimate mixed in with Xbox Live Gold. I think it's their online. So again, they bundled it and they did a great job with that. And I think that kind of asked the question of, well, PlayStation, is that if they want to go into this cloud gaming, this territory and everything, and jump into this part of gaming, can we possibly see PlayStation Now finally? I know a lot of people have been asking for this, but finally, merge and just combine with PlayStation Plus, to offer the ultimate kind of package. And I agree. Go ahead. Yeah, go for it. I agree.
I definitely think they should, because that's the thing with Game Pass is it's always been marketed as the best deal in gaming, which I pretty well agree with, especially when you can go out and get Game Pass Ultimate for 3 months for $20 on Black Friday. Like I picked up a couple of those, so I'll have 6 months for $40. Like that's a crazy deal. I'm paying less than $10 a month for all these games, for Xbox Live, for all of this. That's that's a crazy deal. But Sony just doesn't have anything to counter that. They need to be able to counter that, because that's the biggest selling point if you want to compete with them. But I mean, not to say, I'm sure you've seen the numbers. PlayStation sell ridiculous anyways. But I think the future we're going to is going to be these cloud gaming subscription services. Microsoft has that on lockdown. They need to catch up and make a good deal. So,
yep, I totally agree with that. And I guess I don't know. I guess I don't. Do you know a lot about 5G speeds? Because if not, I mean, we both kind of just just mentioned the fact that it is supposed to be on par with a lot of the speeds of the best Wi-Fi chips right now out there. So I mean, I guess if I don't know too much, are you familiar with some of the 5G?
Yeah, we have 5G in my area, and so compare it. I mean, if I'm gonna compare it to fiber, I have had no problems with fiber Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And so I can only imagine 5G should be able to handle this.
Right. I wish I could try it. That's the one thing that sucks. I wish I could sit here and say, yeah, I've tried 5G and it's crazy fast. I can see the upload speed, download speed. I can't, because unfortunately I don't have it in my area, and that's what kind of holds back. I think we both kind of said this. What kind of holds back it a little bit.
That's what's gonna keep it back from being a normalized thing, and that's why I think it's gonna be harder to sell these things, is because you're waiting on these internet companies, these internet service providers to push out 5G and fiber internet to everyone. Because everybody can get their hands on a console and a disc and play their game most of the time, especially these single player experiences. If you're going to be depending on 5G, it makes your audience so much smaller. So it's tough, because this is the future and I want to believe in it, but we're waiting, so.
Right. And I think that's why I think Sony, again, this is just a patent, and this is something that probably won't happen. A PS5 Pro, I don't know about you, but I'm sure it won't happen within the next year. It's going to be
probably be 2023.
Yeah, 3, 4 maybe years. I mean, I think PlayStation 4 came out 2013, and PS4 Pro came out 2016. Something around that. It's a 3-year span. So I think if this, when this ever comes out and happens, probably won't be for a couple of years from now. But I think the point I wanted to make was that kind of makes sense, seeing as how 5G, again, for me, I don't even have it in my area. 5G is still on its way coming out. I think it makes more sense for if Sony wants to go down that route and start supporting cloud service gaming, that they still give it some time, because 5G isn't really globally out there just yet. So it kind of makes sense in that aspect. Okay, hey, this is something that might not even happen for a couple of years from now. Makes sense, because 5G really isn't fully rolled out just yet. And so I think the direction that they're going to go, and the time they're going to for them to wait out a little bit and so it starts to roll out before we probably see any of these things come into fruition, I think it all makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna it's gonna be a little while. And I think we'll be perfectly fine with what we have right now with Game Pass and Stadia holding it down for all of us.
Hey, in the chat, for anybody who's watching this, I still want to know which one of you guys have a Stadia subscription and have just a Stadia equipment. We mentioned this
and then
back
why? I want to know why. That's the biggest reason. Tell me why.
I was gonna say, I remember we talked about this before. I forget. I think it's one of the first videos we talked about, but I want to see the amount of players that are using Stadia services because I feel bad. I always forget about it, and I just think about like xCloud first. I even think about Amazon Luna, and I haven't even used that yet before I ever think about Google Stadia. And I don't know if it's just like them not really like tossing it out there, like marketing it out there, because I never see anything about it as.
And I feel like it's such a niche audience because I'm speaking for myself here.
Yeah,
I love the idea of portable gaming, but I really don't need it as badly as I think I need it.
Yeah.
Like I love the portability of the Switch, and that's pretty satisfying. But I'm not like dying to play The Last of Us 2 or God of War portable. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dreaming of playing that in my car. So I think there's got to be a connect between the audience truly wanting this and the technology catching up, and then having the right services. So it's going to be a couple years before we see all of this connect into being normalized, is the word I keep using, to see this be a real thing. So either way, I'm excited. I'm always excited for the future of gaming, between Sony's haptic feedback and them pushing for this, maybe even the PSP 5G stuff we talked about. It's all exciting stuff because it's the future. So, and I love that Sony's willing to push through, and even if they might not do the best at it, they're still trying to do it. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm 100% excited for it. Once again, I had that taste of some cloud gaming. It was actually really cool. And I think what's cool is, they make strides to kind of making it, like they make strides of sort of making it like a, what's the right word I'm looking for here? Like making it easy to kind of like enjoy. Like for example,
accessible.
Accessible. Like they have those like little accessories you can put on like your controller. I've seen this for Xbox. I think Xbox has the
thing you mount on top of the controller.
Right. They have like I can't think of the word, but they have one specifically thing from like Microsoft and Xbox for you to put on top of your Xbox controller for you to attach your phone to it. And it's getting there. I think we can start seeing some more things in the future. Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like I've seen some tech out there where like it looks like you attach controllers. Like it looks like it's a big controller grip where you just put your phone in the middle of it and it gives you like the analog stuff. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we see it later down the road. We start seeing more accessories like that for your smartphone. I think I think those type of accessories are just slowly rolling out. But it's cool to see that like again it's like cloud gaming, guys. It's gonna be I've said it before, but I think it's gonna be a big thing. And I think as time comes, I always wonder what's going to happen to mobile gaming, like some of these like App Store games and whatnot, because if this becomes like a main thing to start playing some of your big games portable on your phone like that, it's a pretty game changer.
Yeah, it starts to change the market a little bit. The App Store suddenly becomes you competing against AAA titles. Like if that's what the future is, it's
that's
be
crazy.
Tough for the mobile game market. It is
nuts.
crazy. It's exciting to think about, but it's we still got a long ways to go before we see stuff like that start to normalize.
And that's the big part about this for everybody watching too. Like, this is all like, again, patent. This is stuff that's not concrete. All this is kind of just like stuff that people are seeing, and stuff like this probably won't happen for a while.
Yeah, just discussion points for now.
Yeah.
So what are you more excited for? Are you more excited for like cloud gaming and that stuff, or are you more excited for like haptic feedback, more concrete stuff? What I'm saying? What gets you more excited?
I mean, I definitely, from playing PlayStation 5, I love the haptic feedback in some of the games that I played. Examples were like Bugsnax used it, Spider-Man Miles Morales used it a little bit. I can't wait to try Demon's Souls. Oh yeah, Astros, duh. I mean that was like made for it, but like I keep thinking I keep thinking of games that are like that are not like Astrobots, for example. But I mean, no, 100% Astrobots. Yeah, that they sold me on the controller with that. But yeah, I'm 100%. I want to see more games, utilize that stuff, and I still want to see like the console, aspect of it, like get better and more smoother and stuff like that. But I mean, it's exciting because like I'm a mobile gamer. I know you're a mobile gamer. I think a lot of us here are mobile gamers. So it does get exciting to start thinking about the future of mobile gaming and what it can become. And I think for me, there's definitely a big part of me that's like, I'm excited to see in 2-3 years if we get a PS5 Pro. And one of their big points is like, okay, guys, with the introduction of PS5 Pro, we're gonna introduce cloud gaming services. We're gonna start grouping. In my head, I'm hoping we're gonna start grouping PlayStation Plus, the PlayStation Plus collection, PlayStation Now services, and give us one big bundle for like maybe like $20 a month or something like that. Which I hope would make the most sense. I think I was gonna say Microsoft. I think we mentioned before, but they did it for like I think $15. They put it together. So I don't know if PlayStation can do that same thing, keep it kind of low price like that. They might bump it up a bit, I think. But the most I would see is like maybe like $20. I don't know about you, but
I mean, yeah, that's probably where I see it at. You know,
nothing crazy.
$20 is probably a good deal. Maybe if you want to compete with Microsoft, you might have to do that 15.
Right, that's true. I mean, hey, you're right. That's actually a good point because they did it with they did a good job with the digital PlayStation 5 digital, which I was shocked to see.
Yeah, especially when you like look at the prices of the consoles and stuff like that. If you drop your product and it's straight up $5 more than your competitors, that's gonna be the first thing a lot of people are pointing out. Like, this is more expensive and it's like technically not as good right now.
Right.
So you're gonna have to do something to compete, and I'm sure Sony will. I think they're up to it.
I mean, right now they're as far as I've seen, they're really killing it right now with the console. With the PlayStation 5 is doing so good that like I see them, being they're gonna do good. I think once you're able to take some of those like experiences, those narrative single player games that they have dropped or whatever, it's I think it's gonna be killer when you start being able to play that on the go with you.
It'd be insane.
That's gonna be big.
Playing like Demon Souls on your phone, ridiculous.
Yeah, man. And do you have any last remarks? Any last things to add on to this?
No, I mean just get excited for the future.
Yeah,
man.
Go ahead. Yeah,
gaming's growing, man. Like especially when I look at like 2010 or like if I looked at like 2005 to 2015, how much gaming changed in those 5 years. It was kind of up and down. Like, you have the motion control stuff, you have Kinect and stuff like that. And that all kind of went up and down. And there wasn't that much changing. But, like, when you think about, like, 2015 to 2020 and how you've gotten this console or the cloud gaming, you got haptic feedback. It just gets me really excited. That word, like, I forget the word, but exponentially the technology is getting better. So it's exciting. It keeps me really excited.
Definitely. It's good times. And I guess as a wrap-up question for you guys watching this, give us your thoughts. Are you excited for the potential of a PlayStation 5 Pro? Well, those of you that are thinking about getting a PlayStation 5, hold out now in anticipation for the PlayStation 5 Pro. GPU. Definitely give us your thoughts if that's something you might do. I mean, are you excited to play PlayStation 5 exclusives on the go? Like, give us your thoughts on how you feel about cloud gaming services. I feel like a lot of this is kind of pushing towards that direction of cloud gaming.
Yeah.
But all right, I think that's all I got. So I think that's all you got. And I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. And don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and like this video if you guys enjoyed it. And we will catch you guys on the next one. 5-9 Gaming, I'm Lethal1Up. That's Clark Bear. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Have a good one.